Right, James, what are United's current centre-back options then?
Well, Bella, we know that Rafael Varane departed in the summer following the end of his contract. Leny Yoro, he's been signed as the long-term replacement. We know he's now out for 3 months, and Willy Campoala also left in the summer. So United have got limited options heading into their opening match against Fulham in 2 weeks' time. Yoro, he'll have to wait until autumn to make his Premier League debut, and that leaves 4 fit centre-back options for Erik ten Hag as things stand. Now, Lisandro Martinez, he's the first choice at left centre-back, but he missed a large portion of last season. However, he appears to have recovered and played a huge role in Argentina winning the Copa America. United will pray they can keep him fit this season. Now, Harry Maguire, he looks most likely to partner him this season, despite looking like he may leave last summer. Went on to play 22 times in the Premier League and won the Player of the Month award in November. Now, the future of Victor Lindelof could be absolutely key in this window. He's entered the final year of his contract, no conversations about an extension. And then finally, there's Jonny Evans. Many didn't think that he'd feature at all last season when he came and trained with the club. He ended up playing more Premier League games than any other centre-back last season. Erik ten Hag will hope he doesn't have to call upon Evans as much as he did last season. Now, it's uncertain if United will sign another centre-back unless there's a departure in this area. But, guys, do you think when you consider Varane's left, Yoro's now injured for the start of the season, do they need to bring somebody in regardless, even if Lindelof or Maguire don't depart?
I think they do, and you can kind of tell by the fact that they've been linked with Branthwaite, they've been linked with De Ligt as well. Yoro's only 18 years old, so it might take him a while to get used to the Premier League, but now with the injury, that even sets him back even further. But when you look at the ages of those defenders that you mentioned, Maguire, 31, he had a few injuries last season. Lindelof, he's been at the club for years. Jonny Evans, I'm sure they wouldn't have wanted him to play that many games last season, but he was great when he did play. But also, it's just good to freshen things up. Ten Hag spoke about the style of football that he wants to play and how important that is. So I'm sure that they're going to be very keen on bringing another centre-back in.
Surely they'd have to move one on if they were to bring someone in there. I know Yoro's obviously injured, but they've got 5 relatively high-profile centre-backs there. I think Evans is probably happy being the fifth, being the backup that comes in when needed, albeit he had to play a lot last season. But you'd think, with the wages some of those players will be on, to be able to get a big centre-back in, like a Branthwaite, like a De Ligt, you'd think they'd have to move someone on.
Well, that's our understanding, that United, their stance isn't expected to change because of this injury to Leny Yoro. Some felt that because of the issues United had at centre-back last season, they need as many as they can get. The hope is that Lisandro Martinez stays fit. It doesn't look like Harry Maguire's probably going to start the opening match of the season unless United are able to sign somebody. So Victor Lindelof, I think his future is absolutely key because he's entered the final year of his contract. There's no discussions about him signing an extended deal. So United see this window as the final window where they can get some sort of fee for him, even though they're not actively trying to replace him in this window. But it does feel like if Lindelof goes, then they can hit the button go on the likes of Matthias de Ligt or potentially Jared Branthwaite.
We see this a lot, don't we? The transfers domino effect, and you alluded to it as well. And it's also the case with Scott McTominay.
Yeah, look, we know that Fulham have heavy interest in Scott McTominay. Would he be willing to leave Manchester United to go to Fulham? I'm not so sure. He, again, was kind of touted around to West Ham last summer. There was interest there. There was talk that he would leave, and he ended up staying. And had a really good season, played an awful lot of football, scored goals. I think a player like McTominay will know that, I might not start the season as first choice, but I back myself as the season goes on to become an important player, and that was exactly what he did last season. Was involved in Manchester United winning a trophy as well. Clearly loves the club. Fulham offering around 20 million at the moment. I don't think that's enough. I think Manchester United would probably want closer to 30, but I don't really see why he'd want to leave Manchester United at the moment, given what happened 12 months ago and how the season went for him. I'm not sure he'd want to go.
I think it was really interesting hearing Erik ten Hag speak about Scott McTominay in his press conference overnight. He said he's so pleased to have him playing in this more advanced role. He's so important to making goals for my team, which isn't the sort of comment you'd expect him to make of a player that he expects to depart this summer. He's been so important for Manchester United, playing a number of different roles over the past few seasons. There was the role he had to play alongside Fred. They were much maligned as a partnership, but probably when you look at that centre midfield partnership, it's probably the best United have done for a while because of the issues they had last season. He scored 10 goals in the league as well last season. He was so important to get United to a credible position in the league. And he's a player that I think they like to have because he's so good in the dressing room. He's such a team player. He offers that on-field leadership as well. So I do think United would be reluctant to let him go. But if they are to try and enhance this midfield, and it does mean that someone has to go for for somebody to come in, then I think it's probably a sacrifice that United are willing to make.
We're talking about Leny Yoro and his injuries, but they have been so unlucky with injuries, haven't they, United?
They have, especially when you look at the centre-back combinations they had to field, 14 in total last season in the Premier League, and that really came to a head in that game against Crystal Palace at the start of May when they lost 4-0, and it was felt like there was no way back for Erik ten Hag and for a number of those players, but Erik ten Hag showed that tactical flexibility in the final games of the season and won the FA Cup, which played a huge role in him getting this third season at Manchester United. They had to play 6 or 7 different players at left-back. Diego Dallo had to play there on his wrong foot. So the hope is, with United suffering so many injuries last season, I know every fan felt it last season, but it's worth bearing in mind, 45 separate cases recorded, more injuries than any other club, a total of 1,620 days, players on the sidelines, 21 different players injured last season. They'll be hoping, as many clubs will, they won't be affected as badly this season.
Yeah, absolutely.